You have heard that it was said to those of old, You shall not murder, and whoever murders will be liable to judgment. But I say to you that everyone who is angry with his brother will be liable to judgment. Whoever insults his brother will be liable to the council, and whoever says, You fool, will be liable to the hell of fire. In Matthew 5, Jesus not only shows an increase of animosity or anger in this explanation, but its corresponding judgment when we allow anger to remain and fester within. Once we reach the point of declaring someone a fool, we are liable to the Gehenna of fire. The King James renders liable as danger, while Strong's defines it as liable to, a condition, penalty, or imputation. Now, some translations render these passages a bit differently. Note how it reads in the New American Standard Bible. You have heard that the ancients were told, You shall not commit murder, and whoever commits murder shall be liable to the court. But I say to you that everyone who is angry with his brother shall be guilty before the court, and whoever says to his brother, You good for nothing, shall be guilty before the Supreme Court. And whoever says, You fool, shall be guilty enough to go into the fiery hell. That's a bit different, right? And as mentioned, these passages give the impression that as one's anger is more pronounced, so its punishment becomes more severe, the last being the worst-case scenario. We should also note that in Matthew 5:22, the King James reads, Angry with his brother without a cause. This also changes it a bit. Now, here's my take. I think the worst form of judgment would be a gradual descent into a constant state of accusation toward others, so much so that murder becomes a viable option. This indicates a change of one's spirit, where they become completely blinded by their arrogance. Perhaps this is why Jesus declares the devil as the father of the scribes and Pharisees, not only pronouncing them fools, but blind as well. I remind you that pride is just as effective at blinding us as placing a bag over our head. This brings to light a very simple but profound truth about the devil that's worth mentioning at this point. The word devil is defined by Strong's as a traducer, taken from the root meaning to traduce. Gemini tells us to traduce is to misrepresent someone's character or actions with the intent to shame or defame them. It often involves public humiliation or betrayal of trust. As we see, traducing goes beyond brief anger, showing that it involves premeditation and an intent to bring harm to another by means of accusation. This fits perfectly with the Lord's discourse in Matthew 5, showing why we might be inclined to call someone good for nothing or you fool. It's one thing to point out a particular action, but entirely another to judge someone's worth over it. All of this helps us to see how death is in the power of our tongue. Who has the power of death? Hebrews says it's the devil, the traducer, not Satan as in an adversary or the serpent as in a deceiver, but the devil, emphasizing accusation. This particular characteristic is also pointed out in Revelation 12:10. Of the three characteristics mentioned, it is the devil that has the power of death. When we see death as the carnal mind or excessive love of the self, this makes sense. For once someone reaches the point of completely condemning someone else out of self-righteous anger, it is the accuser who experiences this power of death. Sounds serious, doesn't it? But the truth is, we're now seeing this very thing far too often on social media and in the news, where many are unashamed to express their hatred of others by condoning their death. When such anger is sown in public, there can be no doubt that it affects many who do not have the awareness to recognize its destructive and isolating essence. So, Jesus says when we call someone a fool, we're liable to the Gehenna of fire. What does Gehenna signify? the Valley of Hinnom, a place associated with idolatry, which later becomes a waste dump, which I am inclined to believe points to corruption. With that said, let's consider a little more detail about this valley. Gehenna tells us that the Valley of Hinnom is a real location, a deep, narrow ravine located south and southwest of the old city of Jerusalem. It originally served as a border between the tribes of Judah and Benjamin. During the monarchic period, it became notorious as the site where some kings of Judah, such as Ahaz and Manasseh, practiced child sacrifice to the Ammonite deity Molech at a place called Tophet. King Josiah later defiled Tophet to stop these practices, turning the valley into a place for refuse and the burning of waste. By the time of the prophets, the valley became a symbol of divine judgment because of the atrocities committed there. Jeremiah renamed it the Valley of Slaughter, prophesying that it would become a place of mass burial during the Babylonian conquest. While the word Gehenna isn't used in the final verse of Isaiah, the description of a place where their worm does not die and the fire is not quenched heavily influenced the later New Testament concept of Gehenna. In my research, I found something interesting regarding Molech. The first appearance of this word is in Leviticus 18:21. Strong's defines it as Molech, that is, king, the chief deity of the Ammonites, taken from the root meaning to reign, inceptive to ascend the throne, causative to induct into royalty. I cannot help but see the aspect of pride in this, especially when compared to 2 Thessalonians 2:4. There are just 9 occurrences of the word Molech in the King James Old Testament, and in 6 of these, it speaks of causing our sons and daughters or seed to pass through the fire to Molech. So, principle of first mention, Leviticus 18:21. Here, Molech, as well as pass through the fire, is sandwiched directly between the laws concerning incest and laws concerning adultery and sexual perversion. Why does this become a matter of mention in the middle of all these sexual laws? When we bring this question to Babylon in the book of Revelation, we can begin to form an understanding. In Revelation, Babylon is called a whore or prostitute in 4 different verses, as well as the mother of harlots in Revelation 17:5. By no means does this speak of literal prostitution or harlotry. To add to this sexual overtone, we're told that the kings of the earth commit fornication with Babylon, while the inhabitants of the earth are made drunk with the wine of her fornication. Strong's defines fornication as harlotry, including adultery and incest, figurative, idolatry. Now we begin to see why Leviticus 18:21 is in the middle of the laws against incest and adultery, for the first aspect of Gehenna is idolatry, then corruption. Truth is, they go hand in hand. Gehenna tells us that at its most basic level, idolatry is the worship of a physical object as a god. In the Abrahamic faiths of Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, it is defined as the cultic worship of idols, that is, statues, icons, or images, attributing divine power or godhood to created things rather than the Creator, and the practice of supreme worship directed toward anything other than the divine. In a contemporary or secular context, idolatry refers to the extreme admiration, love, or reverence for something or someone that is not divine, making a center of gravity out of something finite. Common modern idols include wealth and materialism, power and fame, and ideology. So, when we bring it down to its most basic level, could we not say that idolatry is the love and worship of the self? And so Paul writes, who exchanged the truth of God for the lie, and worshiped and served the creature rather than the Creator who is blessed forever. Much to think about, so I'll stop here. Please feel free to like, comment, or subscribe. And I sincerely thank you for being a part of Grain of Wheat Publishing.